Welcome to the Online Digital Marketing Podcast. We'll be discussing marketing strategies, trends, and tips that will help your business succeed in the digital age. Every episode, we'll be interviewing industry professionals and providing valuable insights on how to leverage digital tools for maximum engagement and ROI. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the latest trends in online marketing.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This time, we're diving into something that's become, pretty crucial for local businesses, online reviews. Yeah, those star ratings and comments that can really make or break that first impression. I bet we've all been there scrolling through reviews before trying out a new spot. But how much do they really matter? So you sent over some interesting articles, one on how to boost those all-important reviews, another specifically on Google reviews, and a third that really dives into how online reviews are affecting local businesses, like as a whole. I'm definitely curious to get your perspective on this. Is it really as make or break as these articles make it out to be?
Yeah, it's actually even more nuanced than you might think. I mean, sure, we've all heard that 91% of consumers check reviews before choosing a business. I mean, that stat even pops up in two of these articles. But what's really fascinating is how these reviews are shaping, not just customer decisions, but the whole landscape of how businesses operate.
Okay, so it's not just about whether or not someone chooses your restaurant over the one down the street because of, a few stars or whatever. What else is going on?
Think of it this way. Google reviews, for example, they're like a digital handshake. They build trust or, distrust before a customer even sets foot in the door. One article even called it the 5-star cliff. One bad review, and it feels like a disaster. A good one feels like you just won something huge. But what's often overlooked is what happens when there are no reviews. It's like a digital ghost town. Makes that business seem less credible.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you were walking down the street and saw two restaurants, one's bustling, one looks totally empty, you're probably going to go to the busy one, right? It's social proof, but in the digital world.
Speaking of attracting customers, that article on boosting online reviews, that had some pretty interesting advice. Like, it emphasized asking for reviews right after a positive interaction, like a great conversation or just successful service. Oh, absolutely. And timing is key there. You're catching the customer when they're most likely to be happy and willing to share their experience. But you can't just ask. You got to make it ridiculously easy. Both sources really hammered this point. Provide direct links, especially to those Google business profiles, because fewer clicks means more reviews.
So streamline that process. And I really loved the suggestion about the QR codes. Imagine, a happy customer gets their receipt, bam, right? There's a QR code that takes them straight to the review page. It's simple, and it really takes away any excuse for not leaving a review.
Exactly. And a simple thank you goes a long way, too. Several articles mentioned expressing gratitude to reviewers, whether through a comment or, an email even. It builds customer loyalty, and it also subtly encourages more feedback. People like to feel heard and appreciated, right?
It's like a digital version of that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when someone remembers your name, right? It makes you go for that for more. But let's be real. Not all reviews are, sunshine and rainbows. How do we deal with the dreaded negative reviews?
That Google review article had some great insights on this. The key takeaway, a bad review isn't the end of the world. It's actually an opportunity to, show off some amazing customer service and really turn things around.
So it's not just about damage control. It's about showing potential customers how you handle those tough situations. What were some of the specific tips they gave?
Well, responding quickly and professionally is crucial. Offering to take the conversation offline shows you're serious about addressing their concerns. All of this makes the business look responsive and proactive, even when faced with criticism. Remember, potential customers are reading these exchanges, and how you respond can be just as influential as the initial review itself.
It's like turning a negative into a positive, showing you genuinely care about the feedback you get. And on that note, isn't it interesting how much weight Google gives to positive reviews? It's not just customers who are impressed, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. One source even pointed out that higher star ratings generally lead to higher click-through rates, which tells Google that your listing is relevant and, worth showing to more people. It's like a popularity contest where everyone wins, the business gets more visibility, Google gets happy users, and customers find what they're looking for.
Okay, so far we've seen how online reviews influence customer choices, even affect search engine rankings. But what I'm really curious about is this. What happens if a business gets, like, fixated on this review game? Is there a risk of losing sight of the actual customer experience? I mean, chasing stars shouldn't come at the expense of genuine service, right?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of why this topic is so complex. While reviews are undeniably important, they should be a reflection of a solid foundation, not a substitute for it.
So it's like anything else. You can't just focus on the surface level. You've got to build something real and substantial underneath.
Exactly. It's like building a house. You wouldn't just slap on a fancy facade without making sure that the foundation and structure are sound, right?
I like that analogy. Speaking of foundations, wasn't there an article about how online reviews are actually impacting the businesses themselves, not just their customer base?
Yes. One of the sources even touched on the psychological effects of reviews on business owners and employees. It's easy to forget that there are real people behind those businesses, pouring their heart and soul into what they do.
That's a really good point. I imagine it can be pretty emotional reading those reviews, good and bad.
Absolutely. Positive reviews can be incredibly validating, boosting morale and reinforcing their passion. But negative reviews, even if they're few and far between, can be really disheartening. It's tough to put yourself out there and then face criticism, especially when it feels personal.
So it's a double-edged sword, right? It's great to have that feedback loop, but it also comes with a certain vulnerability.
Exactly. And that brings us to an interesting question that wasn't explicitly addressed in the articles, but is worth considering. In a world where so much of our interaction is digital, how do we maintain that human connection? How do we ensure that online reviews, while important, don't overshadow the personal touch that's so crucial in business and, well, in life?
That's a really thought-provoking question. It makes me think about all those times when I've had a fantastic experience at a local shop, maybe because the owner went above and beyond to help me find something. Those personal interactions are what make a business memorable. And I'm way more likely to recommend that place to friends because of that connection, not just because of a 5-star rating.
Absolutely. Those personal touches build loyalty and create a sense of community. And it goes both ways. As consumers, we can make an effort to engage more directly with businesses, not just through online reviews. We can offer constructive feedback directly, maybe through a phone call or email, rather than just venting online. It's about remembering that there are real people on the other side of those screens.
It's about bringing back that element of empathy and understanding.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the digital world and forget that there's a human being behind every business interaction.
I agree. And as business owners, it's important to find that balance between managing your online reputation and fostering those genuine connections with your customers. Maybe it's a handwritten thank you note with an online order, or simply taking the time to chat with customers in person and get their feedback directly.
It's about going that extra mile to create a positive and memorable experience, both online and offline.
Exactly. Because ultimately the goal is to build lasting relationships, not just accumulate stars.
That's a great point. So we've talked about the power of reviews, the potential downsides, even the bigger picture of human connection in the digital age. What stands out to you from all of this? What's the biggest takeaway that's resonating with you?
For me, it's that reminder to, look beyond the numbers. It's so easy to get caught up in those star ratings and all those crazy algorithms. But at the end of the day, it's about connecting with people, authentically. I think that's a beautiful takeaway. It's about remembering that human element in all of this.
This deep dive has really given me a new perspective on online reviews, that's for sure. I feel like I'm going to be paying more attention to those details, both as a consumer and someone who, runs a business.
I'm glad to hear that. It's fascinating how these, seemingly small digital interactions can have such a ripple effect.
So to our listener out there, we'll leave you with this question. Now that you know just how much those reviews matter, what's one small change you can make in your business to encourage more positive feedback online? Maybe it's streamlining that review process or just, taking a moment to thank those who leave a review. Happy reviewing.
I agree. It's about, remembering the human element in all of this.
Yeah, this deep dive has given me a totally new perspective on online reviews for sure. I feel like I'm going to be paying way more attention to all those little details now.
Yeah.
Both as a consumer and as someone who runs a business.
I think that's great. It really is amazing how these seemingly small digital interactions can have such a huge ripple effect.
So to our listeners out there, now that you know just how much those reviews matter, we want to leave you with this question. What's one small change that you can make in your business to encourage more of that, positive feedback online? Maybe it's streamlining the review process or even just taking a moment to thank those who leave a review. It can make all the difference.
Yeah, little things go a long way.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive into the world of online reviews. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Ready to take your online business to the next level? Subscribe to our digital marketing podcast and then join our Accountability for Success Mastermind. With expert advice from industry leaders, you'll gain knowledge and insights that will help you succeed in today's digital marketing world. From social media strategies to search engine optimization, we have all the tools you need. Learn from successful entrepreneurs and take control of your online success. Join the Accountability for Success Mastermind now at bit.ly/AFSM podcast.